It's Joe in the studio tonight, joined by the legendary Roger Taylor. We asked you for a song from your childhood, and Bill Haley and his Comets is the song that you chose for us.
It is, well, for me, we were starved of anything that was meaningful. We had Uncle Mac on the BBC on Saturday morning, and you didn't really get to hear Elvis or much of interest. You had the Thunder and Lightning polka, and they just one day they played this record called Rock Around the Clock, which was the first, I suppose, mega global rock and roll hit. And it just struck a chord in me. It was like a bolt of lightning. What is that? I want to do that. And it sounds pretty ancient now, but it does swing. And what can you say?
1, 2, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, rock. 5, 6, 7 o'clock.
Bill Haley, and that was Rock Around the Clock. And it kind of sounds ancient, but you can still feel the urgency of it and how important it must have been.
I think the power of it at the time was the contrast in what, Doris Day, what came before, nothing wrong with her, but that started riots. And I don't know, I know at the time it sold 55 million copies. So it really was like a revolution.
Yeah, and you will have heard that on the radio, did you say?
I heard that once on the radio.
Once on the radio.
And that's it. You didn't get any more.
Yeah. Isn't that extraordinary? So that was when you would have been living in Cornwall or with your parents? And
no,
how old?
I was living in Norfolk at the time.
Oh, okay, fine.
So it was really early.
Yeah. Well, and was there a lot of music around your house? Did you grow up with music very much?
Well, we had Doris Day,
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah. And the Thunder and Lightning. And not much, no.
So where did you get your love of music, apart from hearing Bill Haley? Or was it literally listening to something like that and you just were like, I want to be a musician?
Galvanising, yeah. It's wonderful. It just put you on a path. It's something you wanted to be around.
Yeah. So you started making music, or what was the first instrument?
Not really. I didn't have any more than a comb and a bit of tissue paper. No, I got a guitar when I was 8, I think, 9. Yeah. And discovered it was really hard to play.
Yeah.
And, just discovered I was actually better at playing drums in the end than I was at playing guitar.
So were you one of those people who used to just go around just like tapping out beats on anything? So my son used to play the drums, and he'd just come up behind me and just would be on my shoulders. He'd be just tapping anything and everything around the house.
Yeah, if you ever came to dinner with Taylor Hawkins and me and my son, it was like a nightmare.
Yeah,
a nightmare of tapping and. Yeah.
Your son is great. We met him when we had The Darkness doing a session for us at Christmas.
Rufus.
He was, so much energy. I mean, very much like Taylor as well.
Well,
bundles.
he's actually his godfather. So
yeah.
He's turned into a phenomenal drummer.
Yeah.
And The Darkness, I love The Darkness. They're a great band. They are a proper, real band.
Yeah.
No tracks. It's all real.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Justin's voice is extraordinary, and
yeah,
so good. So talk me through this. So you started playing drums then. Were you at school? Did you excel when you were doing music, or how did you get to be making music initially?
I got a choral scholarship to be in the cathedral school in Truro in Cornwall, and if you got a choral scholarship, it means you didn't have to pay. So I went there and I was in the choir. And I guess you learn a bit about singing, obviously. And I kind of started, I wasn't really into it, but, it's kind of a start. But I was always into pop music and rock music, Yeah. Little Richard, whatever, yeah.
And first gig that you went to, can you remember who you saw?
Ooh.
Well, any live gigs in the early days?
Boy, oh boy. I do remember seeing Jeff Beck when I was a bit older by then. I loved him. And we became friends, actually. Wow, what a player.
Wow.
Yeah. And, I got to sing with him and play with him. I don't know. I used to go to all sorts of local gigs. I had a local band, in Cornwall, and I played everywhere.
What were they called?
In Cornwall, they were called The Reaction.
The Reaction.
Yeah.
And what was your family like towards you being in a band and making music? Were they very hands-on? Did they understand what you were doing?
Well, I think my father was very supportive about it, and my mother was sort of interested at a distance, you know. Yeah, you never get a proper job there, you know.
Yeah, because you were going to do dentistry at one point.
Well,
Or
I
not really.
I got to be honest, I didn't want to do it. No, and I came up. It's a way of getting to London, and to get to the hub, as I said, and you got paid. In those days, believe it or not, I think it was a Labour government that was actually handing out the support, student support, which you didn't have to pay back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, but that was never going to be the career. So did your parents? Can you remember their feedback when they came and saw you playing live? Was there a moment when they said, "Oh, well, good career path. Good that you've done this"?
Yeah. Well, I don't know if they went that far, but they probably didn't think it would last. But yeah, they did. They did. And my mum came to saw me. My dad passed away, but my mum came and saw me quite a few times.
Yeah. What was the greatest moment that she saw you do? Can you think of any particular seminal gigs that you did?
Oh, Madison Square Garden. Yeah, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
They flew over on the Concorde, and it was a great adventure.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And Brian flew his parents as well over on the Concorde, which it was all very, fabulous.
Yeah, those were the days, weren't they?
Those were the days.
Yeah.
And we were doing 3 nights at the Garden, I think, and it was great.
Yeah. Oh, how lovely to be able to do that for them to see you and kind of appreciate.
It was satisfying. It was great.
Yeah. And your kids now, what do they make of what you do? Obviously, they vary in age.
Yeah, they love it. They do vary in age. No, I mean, they've always been supportive, but let's face it, I've always supported them.
That's the way it works.
Yeah.
Okay.
There are perks.
Radio